Okay, I hear the recording in progress. Okay, so I'll give you a quiz and I'll do some stuff in 4.3 and we'll probably end early. Okay. And I give you a heads up. I seem to be having some problems with Zoom now. The last couple of sessions in my previous class, I've been limited to 40 minutes. It would just bump me out after 40 minutes. So either we have to stop by 40 minutes or we'd have to all log off and then log back on. That hasn't been an issue for us because most of my sessions have been under 40 minutes recently, but something to keep in mind. I hope I don't run into that problem, but we'll see. Okay. I'm looking much farther ahead. Our next exam isn't until Friday, November the 5th. Okay, so quiz today, quiz next Friday and the Friday after that, and then exam on November the 5th. Okay, so I'll be doing some problems in 4.3. I'll continue with that on Monday. And then go on from there. Okay, so let me get the quiz for you. So get ready to take a picture on your cell phone or do a screenshot. And here we go. I'm not sure it all fits. Okay, this would all fit, I believe. Let me get it for you here. Okay, change 750 degrees to radians. Leave your answers in terms of pi. In other words, don't punch out in your calculator 3.14 or whatever. Show all your work. So simply change degrees to radians. 21 goes the other way. Change negative 21 pi over 4 radians to degrees. Show your work. Number 3, find the length of an arc of 60 degrees in a circle of a radius 5 meters. That should be pretty straightforward. There's a formula for arc length. I can even say it, S equals R theta, but it's in your notes, hopefully. Remember, according to the formula, you have to have this in radians. So if you have it in degrees, change to radians. And number 4, same thing, except the area of the sector. You got a piece of pie. Okay, what's the area of that piece of pie? And there's a formula for that. And similarly, you have to have 60 degrees in radians before you start. So I'm giving you way too many hints already. And when we come to an exam, I wouldn't give you this many hints, but quizzes, I don't mind. Okay, so your formulas for 1 and 2 are either 180 over pi or pi over 180. I have told you before, some ways you can get it to work the right way, that you want the units to cancel out. And normally you want pi to cancel out. 3 and 4, look up those formulas. Number 3, well, I'll say it, it's S is R theta, but theta has to be in radians. And number 4, look it up, but the formula is area is 1/2 R squared theta. Again, theta has to be in radians. So make sure that you have everything in radians and use appropriate units also. So area should be square units, so square meters. Length is just regular meters. And go from there. Okay, so that's the quiz. Any questions on the quiz quickly before I make it disappear? All right, so that's that. And then we'll go on to today's material. So we're going back to right triangle trigonometry. I'll do some problems involving these here. And probably try to finish early so you can have time to look in the quiz. Okay, so last time I did number 1. Recap what happened. In number 1, they gave us a 2 and a radical 21. So I had to figure out the hypotenuse. Okay, came out to be 5. Then I just do my SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so do something similar. Problem number 5 that I was going to show you next. 13, 12, and an unknown side. So here we are. 13, 12, x. Pythagorean theorem, x squared plus 12 squared equals 13 squared. a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 12 squared is 144. 13 squared is 169. Subtract x squared equals 25. Take the square root. X equals 5. Once you have that, it's pretty straightforward in terms of SOHCAHTOA and so forth, right? So sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse, 5 over 13. Cosine of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, 12 over 13. Tangent of theta is opposite over adjacent, 5 over 12. And then you just have other reciprocals. Okay, so reciprocal of sine. Again, I'm going to let you have a cheat sheet, but your next teacher might not let you have that. So I remember if one trig function has a co, CO, the reciprocal does not. So sine doesn't have a co, so cosecant. Cosine does a co, so the reciprocal does not have a cosecant. And while most people don't have any trouble with tangent, cotangent, that's pretty easy to remember the reciprocals. So just flip 13 over 5, flip this 13 over 12, flip this 12 over 5. That's all there is to it. Okay, number 11. So find the value of x. So use your trig functions. So I'll do 11. That should help you with 7 and 9. Okay, so let's see. Number 11, here's an x, 60 degrees, 6. So look at the information they give me. With regard to the 60-degree angle, this is the opposite side. This is the adjacent side. So I say to myself, which trig function has an opposite and an adjacent? Tangent. So tangent of 60 degrees is opposite over adjacent. Tangent of 60 degrees is 6 over x. Tangent of 60 degrees, 6 over x. Okay, multiply both sides by x. X tan 60 degrees is 6. Divide by tangent 60 degrees. So x is 6 divided by tangent of 60 degrees, which is roughly 3.464. Okay, quick check on a calculator. You have to make sure you're in the correct mode. So I go to where I have mode on my calculator. On my calculator, one of the options is degrees or radians. I want to be in degree mode. I am in degree mode. So I get back out, I quit, essentially. And then what do I want? 6 divided by tangent 60. 6 divided by tan 60. 6 divided by tan 60. And then we go 3.464 roughly. 3.464. Okay. All right, so hopefully that's not too bad. And then we go backwards to 9. 45 degrees, x 7. So let's see what they give me. 45, this is the opposite side. This is the hypotenuse. Opposite, hypotenuse. So which of the 3 trig functions involves opposite and hypotenuse? Sine. So sine of 45 degrees is 7 divided by x. Opposite over hypotenuse. Sine of 45 degrees is 7 over x. Multiply both sides by x. That's an x theorem. x sine of 45 equals 7. Divide by sine of 45. X is 7 over sine of 45 degrees. 9.899. Check that out. 7 divided by sine of 45. So 7 divided by sine 45. So see that here. 7 divided by sine 45. 9.899. Very close to 10. And there we go. Okay, so you go back to number 7, even though I'm not really doing it. We'll just get you started with it. 30 degrees, x 16. So which side is this? Adjacent. This? Hypotenuse. So which trig function involves adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. So that's a hint. I've done most of the problem there, but cosine of 30 degrees, right, is going to be x over 16. I'll write that down. Cosine of 30 degrees is x over 16, etc. Okay, you guys take it from there. All right. (13) and 15. This is the Greek letter alpha. And this is the Greek letter beta. Alpha and beta. First two letters of the Greek alphabet. Alpha, beta. Beta kind of looks like a B. So in Greek, alpha and beta, which incidentally is where we get our English word alphabet. So the word alphabet is composed of alpha and beta. Okay, so based on the information, find any missing angles or sides. Okay, so this will be something that we'll do later, something called solve the triangle. Okay, to solve a triangle, you give all the sides, you give all the angles. All right, so I will do 13. I'll let you do 15. Alpha is 30 degrees, and BC is 8. So alpha is 30 degrees. Beta is up here, and BC is 8. Okay, well, you know that the three angles always have to add up to 180, right? So this is already 90. Plus 30 is 120, right? So if these two combine to give me 120, all of them have to add up to 180. That makes beta equal to 60. Okay, so the angles are done. I'm finished with the angles. So 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees. Now for the sides. Okay. So I can call this one, say, y. And let's see, what did I do? And I called the hypotenuse h, right, for hypotenuse. Okay, so let me work first on the hypotenuse, I suppose. You don't know that it's 16 yet, but opposite hypotenuse. So which trig function has opposite and hypotenuse? Sine. Sine of 30 degrees is opposite 8 over h. Okay, there's various approaches you can have for this, but I already know that the sine of 30 degrees is a half. Sine of 30 degrees was a half. You had that over here somewhere. All right, page 202. Sine of 30 degrees is a half. Or of course, you could just use your calculator. Sine of 30 0.5. Sine of 30 is 0.5, which is a half. Okay, so 1/2 equals 8 over h. Cross multiply, that times that times that. 1 times h is h, 8 times 2 is 16. So h is 16. Now, I could do my trig to find y, or since I already know two sides of a right triangle, I can just do my Pythagorean theorem. So in other words, y squared plus 8 squared equals 16 squared. Now you can work this out with trig, but why don't I just use the Pythagorean theorem, right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So y squared plus 8 squared equals 16 squared. 8 squared is 64. 16 squared is 256. Subtract 64, y squared is 192. So y is the square root of 192. 192 happens to be 64 times 3. Take out the 64, it becomes 8. So 8 radical 3. Punch in a calculator, it's roughly 13.86. Okay. Or I can just do the square root of 192. Let me try square root 192. Square root 192. There it is, 13.856. Call it 13.86. There we go. Pretty much how to do those. Then 17D, as in dog, was the last one I was going to show you, and then I'll be done. So I'm going to be done in a few minutes, folks. So unless anybody has any questions, we'll end shortly, and then I'll let you get going on the quiz. But you still have until 11:59 p.m. to submit the quiz. Construct a right triangle satisfying the following and use the sides of the triangle to determine the formula for all the remaining trig functions. Assume theta is between 0 and pi over 2. Okay, what do you mean by that? Okay, I was going to do D because it's the hardest. You're probably least familiar with it, right? So A is sine, B is cosine, C is tangent. We know what that's all about, right? SOHCAHTOA. Sine is what? Opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. But they give me cosecant. So let me do the cosecant one. But the best thing to do with the cosecant is to start by the flip, the reciprocal. Okay, cosecant of theta is 3 over 2. The reciprocal of the cosecant, there's a co, so reciprocal has no cosine. So sine of theta is 2/3. All right, then I do my triangle, and you'll do this for parts A, B, and C. So if you don't know what to do for A, B, and C, look at exactly what we do for D, and you have something similar. Only probably easier. In fact, sine of theta is 2/3, and I'm just noticing that is A. So while I'm doing D, I'm also doing A. So you get a daily double, as it were, doing 2 of these. Okay, so I draw my triangle. I go opposite hypotenuse. Sine of theta is opposite of the hypotenuse. And this side comes out to be radical 5. Let's try it. First, it's x. X squared plus 2 squared equals 3 squared. A squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? So x squared plus 4 equals 9. Subtract 4. X squared equals 5. So x equals radical 5. And by the way, just leave it as radical 5, exact answer. Don't change it to 2.2 or whatever. Just leave it. This is called the exact answer. Right? So in mathematics, whenever possible, we want our answers exact. Okay. Once I punch it in my calculator and get 2.23, whatever, that's inexact. That's only an approximation. So we'll go with this. All right, then I do my SOHCAHTOA. Sine of theta, well, we already did it, right? I can just copy this. But if not, you can always go back to the triangle, right? Sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse, so 2/3. Cosine of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, so radical 5 over 3. And then tangent, TOA, SOHCAHTOA. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so 2 over radical 5. And by the way, you can leave it like that. You don't have to rationalize the denominator if you don't want to. In fact, it's easier when it looks like this when you flip it. Right? When you flip, it's easy, radical 5/2. But if you rationalize the denominator and go, what, 2 radical 5/5, you try to flip it, it's a little bit messier. So just leave it like this, that's fine. And now I just have to remember my reciprocals and I'm done. Okay. Or in your case, you don't have to remember it because you can put it on a cheat sheet. But reciprocal of the sine, if I made you guys memorize all this, reciprocal of sine, there's no co, so cosecant. Reciprocal of cosine, there's a co, so the reciprocal has no cosecant. And most people don't have any trouble with tangent, cotangent, reciprocal of tangent, cotangent. Okay. So easy, flip, 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 and you're done. So cosecant of theta is 3/2. And actually, yeah, they already gave me that anyway, so extra emphasis, I suppose. Okay, secant, flip that, 3 over radical 5. You may leave it like that. And tangent of theta is radical 5/2. And again, if you just flip this, it's nice. If you went ahead and rationalized the denominator and did what, 2 radical 5/5, and then you try to flip it, it's messier than if you just left it like this in the first place. So I think we'll just leave it like so. And folks, I was going to be done. Okay, the rest of this section has word problems. So I was going to save next time for the word problems. So that means on Monday, when we come back, I'll continue on with 4.3. I'll do the word problems, and then we'll go ahead and get started with 4.4. Okay, I am finished, folks. So let me stop the share and see if you have any questions. And if you don't, we're done. I'll let you get going on the quiz. Quiz is due 11:59 p.m. and it's open everything as usual. Okay, so let me check the chat. I don't see anything in the chat right now. Oh, I just got a message that says your meeting will end in 10 minutes. Okay, so that's happening again. But fortunately, I think we're just about done. So I may be limited to only 40 minutes lecture from here on out. Maybe you want that. So, you know, I've kind of been doing that anyway, but it seems to be that YouTube is, not YouTube, Zoom is making me do it that way. But, okay, any questions, please? Otherwise, we're done. All right, have a good weekend and turn in the quiz by 11:59 tonight. Okay, bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.